In this video, I'm going to explain first how to determine a good shape and length for your fingernails for playing the classical guitar, and second, how to file, sand, and polish your nails to achieve that perfect shape and length. The goal is to help you produce a drop-dead, gorgeous, pure, round, clear, full, warm tone. For me, the sound I seek is that of the great guitarist Segovia when he played live in concert. That is the sound I seek. Now, not the sound on his recordings, because unfortunately, they totally fail to capture what his tone really sounded like. A close approximation today would be the recordings of Christopher Parkening. Other great guitarists, such as Julian Bream, produce an amazing variety of tone, but only Segovia had that sound, that special sound. And we aren't very concerned about getting a bright sound. That's easy. What's difficult is to get a warm, full, bell-like tone quality. One of the most important elements in producing a good tone is to have a clear concept of that tone in your inner ear. So, to form a concept of a beautiful tone, listen to guitarists whose tone you love. Experience that beautiful tone by listening to those guitarists live or on good recordings. Memorize what it sounds like. Hear it in your head. When you have a crystal clear idea and memory of that beautiful sound in your head, embedded in your inner ear, it will be much easier to produce it on the guitar. In describing how to produce a beautiful tone, Segovia once said, "This physical beauty of sound is not the result of stubborn willpower, but springs from the innate excellence of the spirit." Now, here's the thing. I'm going to give you all kinds of guidelines on nail length and shape. Some are my own, many are those of other fine performers. But in reality, there just aren't any hard, fast rules about any of this. Everyone is different. Everyone's hands and fingers and fingernails are different. So what works for one person will fail miserably for another. So listen to what I say, try things out, but don't ever slavishly follow anyone's rules. Along the same line of thinking, John Williams once said, "You can't learn anything about shaping your own nails by looking at another player's fingernails." The bottom line, experiment. Decide what works best for you. First, let's talk about nail length. We don't want them any longer than necessary. The longer the nail is, the greater the probability of breaking it in everyday activities. The nail needs to be long enough to provide the right amount of resistance to the string and provide a good tactile sense of the string at high speed, but not catch on the string. The nail must go through the string easily. A common rule, and remember, be very suspicious of rules, is that the nails should extend about 1/16 of an inch above the flesh when seen from the string's view. Just like that. But in real life, you'll find excellent players with nails that are barely visible to 1/8 of an inch beyond the fingertip. You've got to experiment. Decide what works best for you. And remember, don't look at your nails from above. You'll note my nails look really long from above, but that doesn't matter. It's how the string sees the nail that's important. Another test often cited is to hold the fingertip at a right angle to the flat surface of a nail file. The nail and flesh of the fingertip should touch the file at about the same time. Now, if you look at mine, my nail, according to this test, is a bit long. It should, when you touch, supposedly, touch the nail and the skin at the same time like that, but I'm not at 90 degrees right now. If I'm at 90 degrees, it shows that it's a bit long. But looking at the strings view, as I demonstrated a while ago, that fingernail does extend about 1/16 of an inch beyond the fingertip, which is, of course, the other rule. So you can try this test for fun, but will it give you your optimum nail length? Well, probably not. Many people maintain that up to a point, the shorter the nail, the faster you can play. It takes a long fingernail longer to traverse a string, but longer nails can produce a more beautiful tone. I know that each of my fingernails has a minimum length. If I file it shorter, the tone deteriorates. But if the nails are too long, extraneous clicks and other noise are likely to be introduced. What to do? Again, you experiment. Decide what works best for you. However, I have to say that as a professional, I tend to go slightly longer than short. I know that heavy practice, especially of passages where the fingers play on the wound bass strings, will wear my nails down. Also, as Christopher Parkening has pointed out, on stage under the hot lights, fingertips actually swell, and that actually causes one to feel that the nails are suddenly a bit short. To prevent that disconcerting feeling, growing the nails a bit longer is helpful for confidence. Another point Parkening makes that I agree with is that it's important to choose a nail length that will facilitate the execution of the most difficult scales, arpeggios, and other difficult sections of the pieces on a given concert program. Again, I can't say it enough, experiment. Decide what works best for you. Some players recommend that the A finger should be slightly longer than M, and M slightly longer than I. For me, I actually keep I and A the longest and M the shortest. Once again, experiment, decide what works best for you. I believe in keeping measurements of your fingernails. I'm kind of a fanatic about this. I measure mine from the center of the nail, from the quick out to the tip, like that. So my M fingernail right now is just over 2 millimeters. I actually usually keep about 2.5 millimeters. It's a little bit worn. My A finger, let's just put it here. I usually keep about 3 millimeters, and that's about where it is. My index finger is worn down a little bit. I usually keep it at 3 millimeters as well, but right now it's a little over 2, maybe 2.5 there. So the reason I do this, it allows me to keep the length consistent, or if I want to experiment with different lengths, I can keep track of what works and what doesn't. I've never heard of anyone else who does this, so I may be an oddball here. But again, I repeat, experiment. Decide what works best for you. There are exceptions to everything I'm telling you. Everyone's nails are different. Not only are different players' nails different, but even each of the nails on your own hand is usually different from the others. Fingernails have different thicknesses. My A fingernail is much harder and thicker than I or M. They have different flexibility, density, amount of arch. Like for me, my A finger is very arched, but M is a little bit flatter. There'll be different shapes. They'll grow out at different angles from the fingertip. You get the idea. There are many, many variables. So you may ask, okay, Doug, if there are no rules and everyone is different, how in the world do I do this? And how long will it take? Well, for those of us who may not have that innate excellence of the spirit that Segovia spoke of, we're going to have to doggedly pursue our quest with experimentation and stubborn willpower. What I'm telling you is that it will take months, or more likely years, to find just the right nail length and shape, or a range of nail lengths and shapes that will work for you in various situations and repertoire. For example, say you decide to begin with a nail length of 1/16 inch. That's about 1.5 millimeters. Well, you'll also want to try 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, 2.5 millimeters, even 3 millimeters. Well, it's going to take time to grow the nail to each of those lengths to test. And as your playing improves and you play more technically challenging repertoire, you'll need to retest. That 1.5 millimeter length that might have felt fine for easy and intermediate Carolean source studies may not feel right when you start learning Leyenda or Recuerdos de la Alhambra. And then you'll want to test different nail shapes. Well, every time you finish one experiment, you will have to wait for the nail to regrow so you can reshape it for a new experiment. It takes time. Plus, your ear will improve. You'll realize you're much more sensitive and able to judge nuances of your tone quality now than you were 3 years ago. So you'll want to retest some of those old assumptions. That takes more time. Because there are so many variables, because the experimentation takes a lot of time, any claims that there is a way to file your nails that always works to produce that drop-dead gorgeous tone is totally bogus.